Have y'all had fun today?
Yeah.
I am so glad that you all have been in this room with us all day. And I
No,
will say,
wait, pause. He asked if you had fun today, and you shouted 5 times louder with negativity. Please let's get that together. Have you had fun today?
I will also say I am very impressed with how many people are still in the room. I know that there are some people that have to leave because you've got to pick kids up from school, or you've got a plane to catch because it's fall break. I know Jared is over there. He's like, hey, the beach is coming. So I really appreciate those of you that have hung out with us today. But I do want to just take a few minutes as we wrap up. Our theme today is grow and lead together. And so when we think about this idea of growing and leading together, that's really what I'm passionate about. I've always said I'm not good. I won't say I've always said. I used to think I was good at everything. But recently I've said I'm not really good at a whole lot of things. But the one thing that I'm good at is figuring out what other people are good at and relying on them. So I want to tell you a little bit. Recently, is everybody in here, do y'all play pickleball? Any pickleball players in here? A few? Yeah? I know my nephew's back there. My nephew got me into pickleball about a year ago. He's really good at pickleball. At least he'll tell you he's really, really good at pickleball. But no, he's actually really good. So I started playing with him about a year ago. I started going to some of the local the pickleball matches that we have here in this building. They have in the gym and over at the Methodist Church and out at the park. And I realized I was really enjoying this time playing pickleball. I am not good at it, y'all. I've been playing for a year. And not only have I been playing for a year, there are some weeks where I'm playing like 6 or 8 hours a week. Like, I play a lot of pickleball. They have it on Sundays. Oh, I'll go. Somebody wants to stay late and play more, I'll play more. They have it on Thursday nights here. If we can get a pickup game out at the park on a Tuesday, like every chance I get, I'm like, hell yeah, we'll go play pickleball. I've only won about 10% of the games I've ever played. I'm really not that great at pickleball. I enjoy it for a couple of reasons. One is the people that I'm with. It's just a great group of people. We get to have fun. It's that energy. It's the positive energy. 2 is, I think the secret is I know I'm not great at pickleball. So when I lose, I don't get frustrated about it. It doesn't really matter because I'm not there to win. I'm there to just have fun. And then the other thing that I really like about pickleball is, following up from Valerie's session when she was talking about your energy gaps. And you just sometimes have to go do stuff just for the sake of doing it. If you're not good at singing, sing. If you're not a good painter, paint. It doesn't matter. Give yourself permission. So I give myself permission to play pickleball. And I apologize to whoever gets paired with me almost every time. Especially if I've seen them play and they win regularly. Just so you know, you're going to break your streak. And I up front, hey, it's not going to be the greatest match of your life, but we are going to have fun losing. So that's how I've approached pickleball. Had a lot of great side effects from pickleball. I've noticed when I first started playing a year ago and somebody would throw me the ball from across the court, because it's my serve. Would I catch it? No. Would I try to catch it and would it bounce around and then it was like Three Stooges playing pickleball? Yes. But over time, I have gotten better at hand-eye coordination. I'm quicker on my feet. So there's a lot of positive aspects of it, even without me winning. The other thing that I've noticed is my attitude changes depending on who I'm playing with. If I'm playing with other people who, they don't really care if they win or lose, or, they're just there, or they're not really having fun, I don't really play as well as I should. Or as well as people wish I would. If I'm playing with people who are good, or they're trying harder, or they're encouraging, and because I'll start off and be like, hey, Jacina, we're probably going to lose. They're like, not with that attitude. Don't go into it like that. Let's do this. Let's have fun with it. Let's win. Then suddenly I start playing a lot harder. I still lose most of the time, but I try a lot harder not to lose because I don't want to let them down. So what I learned through it is the people that I surround myself with matter. So that's a lesson that became really apparent to me several years ago. As you all know by now, I am the director at Hope Callaway. I got hired back before it was Hope Callaway, when it was still called Gentry House. How many of you, you're from here and you've heard of Gentry House for a long time? It's been around since like 1997, which really doesn't feel like it should be that long ago, except that we have some adults in this room who were born after 1997. So that's like 20, I don't know, it's math, 25 plus years ago. All right, so Gentry House has been around for a long time, and I got hired to come in as the executive director. When I got hired, there were some goals that the board had set before me. They wanted to build the programming. They said, hey, we don't want to just give people a shelter. We want to actually teach them how to move beyond shelter. We want to help people be successful. Well, and that's what I really enjoyed doing. I came from a background of education and nonprofit, and so it was just a really good match because that was the vision of the board. We really want to add in some education type elements to our programming. So I got hired, and within a few weeks, I started getting some very well-intentioned people warning me about another organization that had just started about a year before I think they had founded, and that was the Murray Callaway County Homeless Coalition. And by warning, this is how it went. Hey, y'all are doing some great things at Gentry House. I'm really glad you're there, but you need to know the Homeless Coalition, they've got some really great supporters, and they're gonna steal your funding. Or this one, I laughed a little bit to myself. It was, hey, do you know this person that's connected with the Homeless Coalition? They're really good friends with Donna Herndon, and she's in charge of the Angels Attic pretty much. And so the Angels Attic funds a lot of what Gentry House does, so you might lose the Angels Attic funding if you're not careful. Well, that was a little disheartening. And so I had to pause. I was like, well, did I just go into a job that's not going to exist much longer? But I really kind of stepped back because what the Homeless Coalition was trying to do was fill gaps that Gentry House had. Gentry House had been around for 20 plus years. They had served a lot of people in that 20 plus years, but they only had 4 apartments to put people in. And so, rightly so, the board had decided a long time before that it was going to be for families with children. A lot of people didn't understand that. They thought it was a women's shelter or whatever, but it was for anybody with children. But that's the thing, there are a lot of people who are living on the street that don't have kids living with them. And so there were a lot of people that were falling through the cracks. And the Homeless Coalition was formed to try to fill that gap. They were not trying to steal funding. They were not trying to take over for the Gentry House. Maybe some people thought the Homeless Coalition would have done it better than the Gentry House. I don't know, because I wasn't around at that time. But they were doing good work. And I was being told, hey, you need to watch your back. Like they're coming after me. And so I actually, at a Cubs meeting, I got to meet Jennifer Riley, who is the founder of the Homeless Coalition. Donna introduced me to her. And we started talking. And we realized that we had a lot of the same goals. And we had a lot of the same vision for what these organizations were doing. And it wasn't so much about we had to compete with each other as how can we work together to complement one another. And so we stopped fighting for funding, we stopped fighting for volunteers, and we actually created a strategic partnership in the nonprofit world. It was an MOU, and there was all this all this figuring out that we had to do to make it work. But at the end of the day, we came together for the good of the community so that we could begin to impact more and more people. Because when we fight, who suffers? The people that we're trying to serve. We could have fought against each other, and at the end of the day, we could have left one nonprofit standing, and there would have been people that fell through the gaps. But instead, we figured out how to work together, and it got to the point that it almost got confusing because I know that I had some board members that would question this occasionally, but if people came to me and they said, hey, we have some money to donate, where should we donate it to? There were times that I said, well, we've already hit our budget for this quarter, so why don't you go ahead and give that to the Homeless Coalition? Because they're funding this house build, or they're trying to buy a house. And so we were working so closely together that it got confusing, and then we decided it's time to just become one organization, and we merged and we created Hope Callaway. And that changed everything. And I don't take any of the credit for that. because there were so many people that, y'all, you have no idea. Who here works with boards? Nonprofit boards, corporate boards, doesn't matter. You get a lot of people in a room, there's a lot of ideas, and there's a lot of opinions, and it can be very difficult to come to one solid agreement. Hope Calloway went from an idea to a whole organization running, operating in about less than 6 months. I mean, that was phenomenal that these two boards worked together. They created committees together. They started figuring out, hey, we can't have a board with 24 people on it for an organization this size. And people started saying, you know what, I'm going to step aside and let someone else take over because you don't really need me. And so this collaboration allowed us to go further, faster than we were doing on our own. So I think back about collaboration in my life, and why am I so passionate about it? It's because there's nothing good that I have ever accomplished on my own. I try to think back of anything that I've ever done that ended well, that didn't have someone else helping me along, or walking alongside me, or pushing me from behind. And I can't think of a single thing. Now, I can think of a lot of things that I tried to do on my own that did not end so well, or maybe didn't end as well as they could have ended if I had had help or had allowed somebody else to come alongside me. So, the right people in the right place at the right time make all the difference. In the Maxwell Leadership Team, we have this motto, it's bigger, better, brighter. We want to be bigger, we want to have bigger success, we want to have brighter futures, we want to have better results, and we want to help other people do that. That's kind of the mantra. You can't do that alone. You don't get bigger, better, brighter on your own. You have to have other people along the ride with you. So we have to change our mindset from me to we. So how do we go from a me mindset to a we mindset? A me mindset, that is, it's limited by me. It is my own cap. It stops here. The we mindset, it's unlimited potential. Because we mindset says what I can't do, someone else can do. What I'm incapable of, someone else is really, really good at. The we mindset focuses on adding value to other people. Because when you win, we all win. Have you ever heard the phrase, leadership is lonely, or it's lonely at the top? Have you ever felt lonely in leadership? So over the last couple of years, as I have started doing a lot more coaching and consulting with leaders, that's been the biggest struggle that I've seen, is that people say, I don't have anyone that I can share this with. Maybe not in those words, but that's really at the heart of the matter. There's no one there walking beside them. They feel like they have to carry the entire burden. They have to make every decision, and it's lonely at the top. So when I was in my early 20s, I was pretty good at leading events or strategizing, and so I was thrust into leadership roles way before I had the values to line up with those roles. I talked a little bit about this morning, and I talked about it back at our High Road Leadership Breakfast a few weeks ago. But when we try to succeed on our own, when we feel like leadership is lonely at the top because we create this silo around ourselves because it's all about me, that's a very dangerous path. Because when it's all about me, I don't care who gets hurt, or I don't care who suffers, I don't care who else wins. That's when leadership starts getting lonely. So we have to shift from the me mindset to the we mindset, and it changes everything. So 3 practical steps. How do we shift from me to we? Wow, it's like Dr. Seuss all of a sudden. I can't hardly even say it. So how do we shift from me to we? Step 1 is we have to acknowledge our own limitations. We have to be okay with the fact that we can't do it all. Because when we think we can do everything, we're not going to do anything well. I told you when I first started, I can pretty much acknowledge that I don't do a whole lot of things great. There are very few things that I feel like I do better than someone else. It's why when we do events like this, you don't see me on stage more than other people, because I know that someone like Jared and Katrina, they're going to be able to drive so much more energy than I can drive. I'm like, let's say energy is a 1 to a 10, I'm like lucky to hit about a 6. Jared, like he lives on like 11. So So when we want somebody that's going to come in and spark and drive energy and help you have such a great day, you do not want me on this stage all day, because that's why people leave these events at 2 o'clock. All right? I know that about myself. So I want to collaborate. I want to work with other people to make it better, bigger, brighter. We don't know everything. We can't do it alone. We have to ask ourselves, what am I missing? What is it that's preventing success? What am I missing on my team? You know, Malcolm Gladwell talked about the diversity of teams and the composition of teams. Do you have all of the pieces on your team? Because maybe you're not good at something. I am not good at sitting in front of a computer for hours on end doing spreadsheets and financial reports and grants. Not good for somebody that's running a nonprofit, because we got to do a whole lot of that. So I have to either find other people to help me do it, or sometimes it's just a matter of letting my team know, hey, I've really got to buckle down and do this, and they'll help me make sure that it happens. I have an amazing team, by the way. I'm going to give them a little shout out back there. They're back in the back corner. They've been with us all day. All right, so step 2, then we have to appreciate the assets around you. You're going to start to look beyond yourself. You're going to say, okay, if I don't have it, who does? Or what is this person good at where I should really just get out of the way? Let them thrive. We're going to ask our team members, what are you uniquely good at? What are you passionate about? What is it that you want to do? And then create opportunities for them to do that. And then 3, we want to amplify accountability and support. I told you, if we try to lead alone, that's when it gets dangerous. Trust and accountability are key to effective leadership. We need those people around us that are going to call us out when we misstep. We need those people around us that we'll actually listen to. And then we want to model vulnerability. When we mess up, just own it. Now, maybe stop trying to do that same thing over and over again. I go into board meetings a lot, and if I mess up, I try to own up to it. I used to try to make excuses for things like why I didn't have that financial report done yet. It's because that's just not where I shine. So I go in and I'll say, hey, I'm so sorry, I don't have it done. I'll do better next time. And then I do good for a few months, and then I'll usually miss it again. But I'm working on it, I really am. And I have board members in the room, so y'all, I really am working on it, I promise. I'm trying to get better at that. But be vulnerable. If you want to lead well with other people, you have to be willing to take ownership of your failure, your mistakes, and your weaknesses. It's okay for you to say, hey, I'm really not the person for that, or I'm really not great at that, but I know who is. And let me get you connected with that person. Sometimes I think that I had an unfair advantage when it comes to collaboration, because I have a twin brother. If you didn't know that, there is another one of me. He's actually standing back there, and he's been in charge of our tech stuff all day. Because, again, there is nothing that I have ever done that he's not been right there with me on. And from a very early age, we learned to complement each other. We learned when we were, like, I don't know, probably in the womb, I don't know, that if there was something that I wasn't good at, but he was good at, or he wasn't good at, and I was good at, we could rely on each other. Who here came to Live to Lead in this building last year? There are a few of you. There aren't that many, and I have a theory. It wasn't as good last year. It just really wasn't. Like, the atmosphere was different. Katrina came in last night, and she saw the setup in here, and she said, wow, you've come so far in the last year. This looks so much better than last year. And I said, well, that's because I finally I let Jonathan do it. So I had to learn how to collaborate from a very, very early age, and it was just easy for me because when he wins, I win. And I feel like when he wins, we win together. So how do we apply that to leadership? We have to shift from the I want you to win so we can win, because that's cooperation, right? There's a big difference between cooperation and collaboration. We all like to cooperate with each other. Cooperate is, I want you to win so we can win together. Collaboration is, I want you to win and I want to help you get there. When Gentry House and the Homeless Coalition merged, I have to be honest, there was a little bit of me that was nervous about the outcome. Not because I didn't think Hope Calloway was going to be successful, but I wasn't sure that it was still going to need me. Because there were a lot of people in the room that could have taken what we were doing and run with it. So in order to make that happen, and in order to stay out of the way, I knew there was a little bit of a risk that at the end of the day, there could be someone else running the organization. I could work myself out of a job. Did it matter? Not really. Because at the end of the day, if Hope Calloway was winning without me, we're going to celebrate the wins. We're going to say, man, I am so glad y'all got there. And I'm so glad I got to be a part of that win. And now I'm going to go find something else. I'm going to go find someone else that I can work alongside. I'm going to find other wins. We have to choose the bigger picture. We have to find something bigger than ourselves that we want to see accomplished. And then the sky's the limit. In the 21 Laws of Leadership, John Maxwell talks about the law of the lid. He said, like, your organization, it ends with the top, right? And so if your lid is right here, you're never going to go beyond that lid on your own. So you've got to find people to surround yourself with that are going to take that lid and they're going to keep raising it higher and higher and higher. And you want to put them in positions to thrive. In the book, Lead Together, I talk a lot about some different examples of this that I've seen throughout my life. One of the most recent examples at Hope Calloway is I have a phenomenal staff. Do you remember last year, actually there were only a few of you that were here last year, but last year we had this session about working genius. And the idea of it is that everybody has a working genius. Everybody has something that they're really passionate about, that they really thrive in, that gives them energy. But we took this working genius assessment in our team at Hope Calloway, and I learned that the things that I'm not that great at, everyone else on my team was phenomenal at. So I am not really great with empathy. I do not like sitting next to somebody and empathizing, and it drains me. I can do it, and in my career I've had to learn how to do it, and I can do it okay. In fact, some days I can do it well. But the thing that you learn with working genius is it's not sustainable. So you might be good at something, but if you have to do that every day, all day, then it's going to drain you. That's what causes burnout and all this kind of stuff. And so we learned on our team that every single other person on our team, empathy was there, or enablement. I think I got it wrong. See, Jared is the certified working genius person over here, so I see him nodding now. Enablement. Whatever it is, empathy, it all works. But that's the thing that I don't do well. Everyone else does it very well. Discernment was something that I thrive on. I love making decisions. I love making decisions for other people, and I would love to do that for you. Just let me know. I'm really good at that. That gives me energy. I can make decisions all day long. If my job was just sitting in a room and people coming to me and saying, hey, what should I do? I've got option A and option B. I'd be like, oh, option A. Works every time. Oh, I would be so happy. Unfortunately, I still have to do spreadsheets. So no one else on my team liked making decisions. That's what we found out. Discernment was their working frustration. And so it really started to teach us a lot about our team. And it helped me see why sometimes we had the same conversations, or what I thought was, oh, this should be an easy conversation. You should just know what to do here. Was because that's not where they thrive. It's easy for me. But then on the other hand, when somebody's coming in and they're really needing somebody to pat them on the shoulder and just say, hey, it's gonna be okay, that's not me. I wanna say, okay, it's time to get back to work. Let's get moving. Here's what you need to do. Step 1, step 2, step 3. This is success. So together, we found that we were able to actually begin working with clients and building these plans for these clients to where success suddenly was no longer far-fetched. They began to capture this idea of hope. That's why we call ourselves Hope Calloway. So here's my question for you today. Where can you shift from me to we in your leadership? I want you to think for just a minute. Actually close your eyes I know it's the end of the day. I know we're tired, but I want you to close your eyes for just a second and think about what is the last time where you felt you were alone in something you were leading, a project you were doing. Now, with that in your mind, I want you to, one more question for you. Who do you know that could have made that a little bit easier? Because that's the person that you need to be calling first thing Monday morning and making sure that you have a plan to connect with them. That's the person that you need to call and say, hey, can we go have coffee together? Or maybe it's somebody that's in your office every day. Be intentional. You can open your eyes now. I'm afraid y'all are asleep. Okay. Be intentional. When we win together, we all win. All right, thank you all. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your fall break for those of you that are traveling. That's it. Goodbye.